Good evening, nerds around the world, and welcome to episode 37 of the Nerds Unite as One podcast. It is Paul English, and we have an absolutely fantastic show for you today. It is episode 2 of Trilogy Month, and today we'll be discussing one of the all-time best children's trilogy films of all time, the Toy Story Trilogy, as well as several other big news that we need to go over. And with me today is a terrific panel that I'm going to introduce to you right now, beginning with our co-founder, our co-admin, our Lord and Master and Creator, Mr. Caleb Tuff. Caleb, what's up?
Sup? Excited, guys. So let's get it going. We got a lot to discuss. A lot's happened in the last week, and let's get ready to rumble. That's all I gotta say.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We also have. I'm sorry.
No, I'll probably go ahead. Sorry.
All right. We also have our other co-admin, our co-founder, and that is Mr. Chris Miller. Chris, what's up?
Hey, Paul, what's going on? Back here again with my little brother Morgan, and ready to discuss this trilogy. And also, I'm also thrilled at the prospect that we might get. I mean, excited at the prospect we might get a King Kong versus Godzilla movie. So keep an eye out for that.
Yes, we've been hearing about that, and we will all keep an eye out for it.
Oh no.
Back again, we also have Eric Mickelson. Eric, what's up?
Not much. Been doing lots of college stuff lately, but panel, I've been very excited holding this off, and I've been very excited to do these discussions.
Absolutely, absolutely. And all joining us as well, it is Mr. Colton Hunt. Say hello.
2 episodes in a row. I think that's a personal best in terms of appearances for me.
Let's try to shoot for 3 in a row next week. All right. Avi will be joining us momentarily for the battle of the century. We'll get the popcorn and beer ready for the 21-plus crowd. But that's our main topic, obviously, and we will get to that momentarily. First, however, some news we got to go over, some rumors and confirmed news. First one being, we are all children of the 90s. As far as we are concerned, the 90s was the greatest fucking decade ever in terms of 90s, in terms of children's entertainment. And at the forefront of that was Nickelodeon. They made some of the best goddamn kid shows ever seen, from Doug, Rugrats, Rocco, Ren and Stimpy. The 90s were fucking great, as well as good shows, all like Legends of the Hidden Temple, Guts, and live action, like all that and Keenan Kel. The 90s rocked. There's no question about it. Mm-hmm. Of course, lately they've been going downhill. They've been coming out with a lot of shit shows, and they really don't seem to have a clue what the hell they're doing. Oh, Chris, I apologize. I get very passionate about this, so I extend my apologies to your little brother. I will try to keep it PG from now on. I'm sorry.
It's okay, but he doesn't even like some of the shows that Nickelodeon has.
Okay, well, he has good taste. Anyway, we long for the great shows of our youth that Nickelodeon had, and it looks like our prayers may be getting answered. There are several rumors that Nickelodeon is planning to launch an all-90s network called The Splat, a brand new channel devoted exclusively to 90s entertainment. All the great shows from the 90s that we loved, we could get a chance to see them again on its own 24-hour channel. Needless to say, as 90s kids, we could not be more excited for this possibility. We are hoping and praying that it is true, and I want to get your all opinion on this. So, Caleb, I'm going to start with you. Are you excited by the possibility that we may see an all-90s Nick network?
I mean, of course. I mean, this is what I grew up with. I mean, I was born in '89, so I basically grew up, in the 90s, in my young youth, and I mean, remember all the shows. I mean, I remember watching all those amazing shows back in the day. I mean, I think it would be great. I mean, it would definitely be one big nostalgia trip. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. I mean, watching all those old shows, just seeing how much you love them, and seeing how amazing those shows are compared to the shows that we have today. I mean, some of the shows are good, but they don't even touch the ones that we grew up with. So I mean, I would be all for it, obviously. And I think it would be good for the kids of today to actually see some good shows, because I watched some kid shows today that are just absolute shiitake mushrooms. They're just absolute. So, I would like to show like my girlfriend's daughter. I'd love to show her some of those shows, instead of the crap that I had to watch with her, So I mean, that would be really cool. So I would definitely be all for it.
You know, I was just going to mention that, Caleb. As a father, you must be thrilled with the idea of being able to show your children good children's entertainment rather than the crap we have today.
Well, I mean, just like some of the stuff, I mean, it's like nauseating to watch. Now, maybe to a little kid it's interesting, but I remember a lot of the shows that I watched were not just like really good shows, really like cool shows, but they were kind of like educational in a way. Like you learn things. Like you learn like life lessons, like subliminally. Like you like I didn't really realize that I was learning something, but I did. Because I remembered, oh yeah, on this show that they did this. So it's like that when a show can be good, but it can also teach you something, and you don't even realize it. So yes, absolutely, yeah. I mean, I'm excited. I mean, yeah.
All right, Chris, I come to you next. Are you excited by the possibility of an all '90s Nick network?
Well, I mean, there are several rumors right now that's like saying that it's not really a network. I mean, I think it's the programming block that they say. Maybe it's a network. I'm not really sure. I mean, but they are bringing back some of these shows. I feel like kind of relieved at the idea that Nickelodeon's bring back shows that really made them a name back in the '90s. Quality kids programming that that crossed bounds with not just children but adults as well. They entertained. They definitely crossed over several age groups. And they were filled with subtleties and nuances that most kids shows lack today. Some of the kids shows today are too gag filled. I mean, my little brother doesn't watch them. Of course, he's like 14, but it's a chance to show kids today what real children's programming is. I'm glad that
absolutely
they're reviving these old things back. To bring it back.
I agree with you 100% on that, Chris. And then as a big brother myself, I can tell you I'm thrilled at the notion of being able to show my younger siblings. This is what I grew up with. This was the great quality entertainment that I was exposed to, that I learned so much from. Not the garbage you unfortunately have to suffer through today.
There's a lot of garbage out there.
Oh yeah. All right, Eric, I'm going to come to you next. I know you're a bit younger than a lot of us, but surely you must have seen some of those great '90s shows. Are you excited about? Maybe we have our own network devoted to it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I did see a bunch of those old '90s shows. It was more like when I was a lot younger, so I don't remember them nearly as clearly. But it definitely would be pretty cool to see. It really will show like. It will be a little bit of a culture shock to people. Like it's gonna be interesting because you can watch, some of the newer shows and then just see what was the standard back then, what kinds of humor they use, and I think it would be very interesting. It's gonna be a little hard for me to watch it because I don't really have cable here in college, but definitely nice to hear. Like if it is true, I'm definitely very happy about it.
Well, worst comes to worst, I know a lot of those great animated shows are available to purchase on DVD, so you could do that.
Oh yeah.
All right, Colton, you're up next. An all '90s Nick network. Are you excited about that?
I'm definitely thrilled about that. I mean, sure, we have YouTube to allow us to watch a lot of these old '90s things, but they periodically get a lot of episodes I've seen. Typically, are either altered so that they can be on YouTube, or when I'm getting pulled off YouTube altogether and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So to actually have a network where we can watch the shows all the time, that'd be pretty cool. Because, well, like you said, the '90s were a great time. I mean, I'm not gonna say that cartoon shows today are all terrible, because, well, for one matter, I haven't seen all of them, and I haven't really seen Nickelodeon in years, because I did actually start to get tired of some of their programming. But yeah, there feels like there was something a bit more juvenile about some of the children's cartoons today. Granted, the children's cartoons back in our time were also juvenile, but they were more tasteful, shall we say, if you know what I mean. And I'm also definitely looking forward to watching more, if it's part of it, looking forward to watching more Legends of the Hidden Temple and watching all those kids constantly failing to put together the shrine of the silver monkey.
Yes! Yeah. I miss those game shows, man.
It's like that.
Double Dare, Figure It Out. I wanted to be on all those shows so badly.
Yeah, like my sister and I always constantly used to play like Legends of the Hidden Temple and Nickelodeon Gets on our own. And they were like just awesome. Even if the temple guards scared the crap out of me.
Oh no, we were scary as hell.
It's like I just didn't get the concept that it was all a show. I mean, I was like, hey, this is all. I was like thinking, took it all for real and whatnot. But as a kid, I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
Legends of the Hidden Temple with your guide, Kirk Fogg.
Oh, Mac, my man, Mac, yes. Guts was always my favorite show. I mean, I freaking loved it. Do you have it? Oh, come on. Come on, jeez. All right. So you need to say we're all excited about the idea of a all 90s Nick Network. We are hoping and praying it comes true. Something else that a lot of people have been praying for 20 years has at last been answered. All Pokemaniacs of the world rejoice. Starting next year, we will be able to capture Pokemon in the real world. Nintendo is partnering with another company to produce Pokemon Go, a new app game coming out 2016 for all smartphone and tablet devices that will allow us to capture Pokemon in the real world. I have seen joke memes about this for days now. And as a Pokemon geek, I could not be more thrilled with this idea. So, Chris, I want to start with you on this one first. What do you think about this? You got a smartphone or a tablet, you can catch Pokemon in the real world now.
Well, I hate to break this to you. I mean, I'm not
Don't
really...
do it, Chris. Chris, don't do it, Chris.
Don't do it!
Please don't do it. I'm not... I mean, I don't hate Pokemon. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Pokemon.
He's doing it. You just broke my heart again. Just broke it again.
Oh, I mean, it's just like I don't guess. I mean, Eric, don't do that. Come on.
Oh, you killed him! You killed Eric!
Oh.
You jerk!
Eric, what happened? I mean, I wasn't paying attention.
He died of a broken heart.
Oh. I mean, this is something that never really...
Save the broken heart thing for the Star Wars discussion, Paul.
Broken heart. Broken heart for the Star Wars discussion. Okay, we'll talk about that later. But hell, I mean, it's not something I really particularly was into. I mean, I know like when I was like 9, 8, 9, 10, or I mean, I don't remember what age I was. I mean, I think it was like 11. I know kids were pretty much into it. They would connect. I mean, they would collect the trading cards, talk all about the movies and all that stuff. I mean, I just didn't really get it. I mean, I know it's enjoyed by several people, but I just like if you're a fan, I guess this is particularly thrilling for you. But for me, I'm not. I mean, I wasn't really that interested.
All right.
You're killing us, Chris. Colton, I'm going to come to you next. You excited about this new game?
I'm excited, but at the same time, I also think this idea could either be pure genius or really stupid because it's going to be a total nightmare for all completionists. Because there's like for perfectionists, because there's like the fact that there's obviously the internet joke that certain Pokemon are probably going to be available at like power plants or only if you're in the air or something like that and whatnot. And it does make you wonder how are you going to be able to capture Pokemon like Mewtwo or Mew-Ho-Oh, yada yada. And I actually saw one video where one guy said that the concept of Pokemon Go is going to be a nightmare for people that are, well, not really sure, that are kind of anti-social, because it involves you having to actually get off your sorry butt and going out into the world to actually go and capture the Pokemon. But on the flip side, I do think this is a very good idea, because, yeah, capturing Pokemon in real life, I mean, that's pretty cool, and granted, it's not going to be as cool as the trailer made it out to be, but, we're all old enough to know that, yeah, we're not going to fall for it. I mean, it would be awesome if there was some sort of way to actually simulate the Pokemon being around, but take what you can get at this point. Part of me kind of actually hopes that Nintendo pays people to actually be a real-life Team Rocket and just disturb players when they're when they really don't want to be disturbed, just like in the real-life show.
They just stand staring at a wall waiting for you to walk by.
Yeah, you brought up like a nightmare for this game will be a nightmare for completionists, Colton. There have been so many like joke memes that I've seen in the past few days regarding about people going like really dangerous places just to capture Pokemon.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorites was a naval officer on a submarine saying, "Captain, we have to dive down to the Mariana Trench." Captain goes, "Are you out of your mind? That place will crush us." "But sir, Lugia is down there." Captain goes, "Dive, dive, dive."
I also saw the meme about the fact that someone is going to have to go. You're going to have to go to Area 51 to capture Deoxys.
I'm pretty sure that Deoxys is
Oh, go ahead.
You might have to go to space to capture Deoxys at that point.
All right, Eric, it looks like our Lord and Savior Arceus resurrected you in time to discuss about this, so give me your thoughts about this new game.
Well, before I get my opinion out, I wanted to make everyone know I am a product of the 90s, and I do love Pokemon. So be aware of this when I'm giving my opinion. I'm kind of like unsure of how to feel about it. 'Cause it's like, yeah, the concept of catch Pokemon in real life is pretty awesome, and everyone wants to do that. But I don't know. It's like, not quite sure how it will work. The closest thing I could find is my friend has this sort of app on his phone that you're essentially like part of one of two factions. You try keep control of land across the earth, and little events pop up near certain like places, so like near like a statue or a bench, and you'll need to go there to claim that area. That's how it's gonna work. Is there's gonna be an event, listed as certain location on your phone. You have to go there, and then a wild Pokemon will appear on your phone, and you do whatever you need to do to battle. But I'm probably gonna have to see it in person and have my hands on in order to make a decision on how I feel about it. But it definitely sounds like a cool idea, and if it works out well, I'm very excited for it.
All right, Caleb, you are up next. I know you've been putting off getting a new smartphone for a long time, so now you have a valid reason to get one. So unmute that mic for a moment and talk to me about how you're excited all to get it for a Pokemon app.
Well, as like Eric, I'm definitely a product of the 90s. I'm definitely part of the Pokemon, and God, I love Pokemon. When I heard this news, I thought it was the coolest thing. I think it's really interesting. And this is the first thing that I did, Paul. I'm going to tell you the first thing that I did when I heard this news.
What'd you do?
Oh, my Lord.
I want to be the very.
Someone sucks!
Yes!
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It still sucks!
Shut up.
I gotta restrain myself.
The King theme song of all time.
I got to restrain myself. Oh my God. Really?
I would, although, if the phone did have the ability to display the Pokemon like in real life, kind of like how the dual discs in the Yu-Gi-Oh anime were supposed to do, it's like that would be amazing.
It still sucks.
Imagine if they actually had real life gyms. So just picture people actually having to walk.
That pretty much is just going to a Pokemon. That's pretty much going to like a league event, which is just gonna be filled with a bunch of nerds in the comic shop.
So yeah.
Hi, Abby.
Hello.
Hey, Abby, you're just
Still
catching
talking
the
about
tail
Pokemon.
end. Oh, you're just catching the tail end of it. You're catching the tail end of it.
Okay, I was told to join now.
Yeah,
Hey,
catching the
Chris,
tail end
the
of it.
reason why I like Pokemon is because, well, the game. Well, strictly speaking, talking about the games, the very first game I played, Pokemon Red, or it might have been Blue, I can't remember. The same game either way, but nevertheless, it was a pretty fun game, I think.
Chris, you're just being a hater right now.
I'm not being a hater. God.
I'll admit the show itself.
Chris.
No, I'm not.
I'll admit the show itself did kind of get stupid around Diamond and Pearl, but before that, I did enjoy it was a pretty harmless show with some very good animations, some very tense action scenes. It was overall good entertainment, I think. With the exception of the amount of filler episodes it could get into, but then again, that's just the problem with most anime series. Dragon Ball Z!
Trading card games is still pretty cool.
Another one that sucks. Another one that sucks. I mean, just...
Oh, wow.
What'd you say?
You did not just go there, Chris.
You did not just.
Okay.
You did not
Chris,
just
I'm pretty sure you're gonna be the.
Wait.
Dan, you
Wait.
right now.
Wait.
It's
So
crap.
Chris, So Chris hates Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon. Oh, now my Toy Story thing doesn't seem so bad.
No.
And I like Toy Story. Oh.
Can anyone hear an echo in the background?
A little bit, but it's only doing the shouting.
Okay.
Your Toy Story is actually worse, Avi.
No.
I actually like Toy Story, so I don't get why I'm in, like... My heart is beating so fast right now. I'm ready to defend myself, but I am like...
Well,
Carol, don't send the attack dogs.
I am so nervous.
we are getting to that it is time, everybody. We have gotten to our big news. We've all had fun, but now it is time for the main event of the evening. 15 rounds of boxing. 15 rounds of debating, or 3, I should say. Let me go back. It's time for our main event of the evening. We are discussing the Toy Story Trilogy. All of us here are big fans of it, but we have someone here who's not as big a fan as everyone else is. And
Someone who gives it a 9.5 out of 10. What?
And we have someone else here who is the most diehard Toy Story fan I have ever met, who considers it the greatest movie of all time and is ready to defend this with his life if he has to.
How you feel about 1, I feel about 2.
It's not.
We have
the greatest trilogy of all time. That's what it is.
So we have a all-star battle royale ready to go between Avi and Caleb on the Toy Story Trilogy. So, in the words of
I'll be John
Master
Cena.
of Ceremonies, Michael Buffer, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's get ready to rumble!
It is
Round 1, fight!
I'll be John Cena. I'll start out being liked and then get back up.
Oh my goodness! Wait! Oh my goodness! I just had to pull.
All right.
Oh my
Obviously, we're
goodness!
going to save those two for last. So, let's begin the Toy Story Trilogy discussion with the first one. Obviously, Toy Story.
I just had to put on some fight music.
Okay.
Put on John Cena's entrance music. Put on John Cena's entrance.
No. Put on the movie theme for Mortal Kombat. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's fine. That's
There you
fine.
go.
That's good.
That's some fight music over here.
This show has gone off the rails already.
Lay down with Avi and Caleb go on because I'm going to save those two for last.
This is.
As soon as they start playing that.
Paul?
I am going to get crushed. I just know it now. Because all of you are already on Caleb's side, but I don't think it's as great, so I'm going to get crushed.
Man, I wish Jack was unfair. Us like tearing you a new one, let me door him a new one for Transformers.
This is such. This is awful. Who would think that someone would get so much hate for liking Toy Story?
Bobby, you're not helping your case.
You are not.
I don't care.
You're burying yourself into a deeper and deeper hole. Just shut up right
Good.
now.
I'll continue.
All right. Everybody, let's relax. Hold on. Relax. I know we're having a lot of fun. The fighting hasn't even started. Let's wait until the fighting starts. In the meantime, 4 of us will discuss this film. Now get going. Toy Story holds a special place to me because it is the first movie I ever saw in theaters. I was 5 years old, visiting a friend in Delaware. We went to the movie theater, saw Toy Story, and it was an unbelievable movie that I still love to this day. Amazing storyline, great animation, the action was great, and Tom Hanks and Tim Allen as Woody and Buzz, I mean, those two together are comic genius. I am completely pro Tom Hanks and Tim Allen doing anything together, regardless of the circumstance. It is a wonderful, magical movie. It made Pixar the mega giant it is today, and it's a movie that should be on everyone's must-see list. Like, every child needs to see this movie at least once in their life. Or even preferably 10. It's just that good. All right. So that's it about Toy Story, pure magic. Colton, I'm going to come to you first on this one. The original Toy Story, 1995, 20 years it came out. God, it's so good. What do you think about it?
Well, I watched it a whole lot when I was a kid. Well, granted, I watched a lot of movies multiple times when I was a kid. But nevertheless, this movie still holds a special place in my heart. Now, its storyline does seem pretty tame when you compare it to Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3, as they really took the theme of toy survival and pushed it beyond the simple premise of the first film. But that being said, the simplicity of the first movie was still pretty good. It's your typical story of some guy Woody's very full of himself, and he gets a very big slice of humble pie shoved in his face in order to realize that he's a jerk and whatnot. Granted, the other toys, one thing I will mention that I don't like about Toy Story, however, is that the other toys are never made to don't actually apologize to Woody for actively trying to kill him. I mean, yeah, Woody did try getting rid of Buzz, but my problem with the other toys is that it's not that they cared about Buzz, it's that they were just jealous of Woody and wanted to basically look for an excuse to get rid of him as well and whatnot, particularly Mr. Potato Head, that big prick. And granted, he does get his comeuppance when RC crashes into him during the big car chase, so I guess take what you can get. Nevertheless, the toy jokes are all funny, such as him falling with style, the sequence at Pizza Planet, the part where Woody rides in the back of the Pizza Planet van and it's all that bad stuff, all that slapstick violence happens to him and whatnot. It's just awesome. But it's also very heartwarming as well. The scene where Buzz actually flies somehow, it's one of my favorite scenes in cinema due to the directing, the way the score just rises when he takes off into the air, and of course the whole ironic echo of, "Hey Buzz, you're flying. This isn't flying. This is falling with style." And then instead of landing correct, they land next to the air. Great to that. It's like, I think Toy Story is an example of a movie where, despite the fact that it raises all sorts of questions about its logic concerning its plot, the writing is so good that you can actually ignore it. Like, for example, Andy behaves like no other kid I've ever seen, in that he leaves his room and does not come barging back into it like maybe a few minutes later, allowing the toys to actually have long conversations about whatever they're up to and whatnot, you know? It's like Simmons pointing out, Andy actually shuts the door to his bedroom so the toys can come to life. Among other things. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about Toy Story. Like I said, it's simple, but it works. I have more to say about Toy Story 2 and 3. But
all right.
For now, that's all I have to say. 2 thumbs up.
All right. Eric, I'm going to come to you next. The original Toy Story. What do you think?
Well, Toy Story was the very first 3D animated movie I ever saw as a kid, and it blew me away. Granted, I was very young, and I didn't quite, and was pretty impressed with most things as a kid, but just that being one of the earlier movies I've ever seen would just set the bar so high for me. I love Pixar ever since I watched that first movie. I'm a big fan of that movie itself. Like, I had watched a lot of anime movies when I was a kid, but that really showed me the possibilities that could be more than just like silly cartoons, and it's made me a big fan of anime movies even to this day. I still go out to see a lot of the anime movies that come into theaters, and I still enjoy a lot of them. And my love for all of them has started with Toy Story. It's a very nostalgic movie for me. Is it as wonderful as I remember it being as a kid? Well, there's parts that I don't like as much, but there's a lot of parts that I really respect now a lot more that I'm older and can understand the deeper meaning behind the different pieces of dialogue and the themes and everything in the movie. It's still a great movie in my eyes, and I love it to this day.
Very good, very good. All right, Chris, I'm coming to you next. The original Toy Story. It's all you.
Toy Story. Toy Story. What's there to say about this movie? I'm pretty sure you can say a lot more things, but hell. this movie is movie magic at its finest, man. It's just like you got a great story, you got a wonderful cast, you got terrific humor, you got a dazzling sense of adventure. The computer animation, even though it was the first, they handled it with expertise. The craft of it is wonderful. It's just like Tom Hanks and as Woody and Tim Allen's Buzz. What a perfect match! What a perfect duo! I mean, it's just like they blend themselves perfectly into these. They were the perfect guys to breathe life into these characters. You know, it's just like, and the story. I mean, yeah, it's pretty simplistic, you know, but it works. You know, it works on so many levels. And the great thing about Toy Story is that it crosses several age groups. You know, not only kids can enjoy it, adults can enjoy it, old people can enjoy it, and it's just like it knows no bounds, and it transcends so many generations now. And I feel it's a film that should have been nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's never going to happen until the Academy gets new blood, unfortunately, because they're a bunch of old nut jobs who don't appreciate good animation.
Yes. I mean,
that's why they created Best Animated Film, because they didn't want to give Toy Story the award. Like, exactly. We can't give this animated children's movie an award for Best Picture. Let's just give it its own category.
Actually, no, they gave Lion King a Best Picture nomination.
They didn't give the Lion King a Best Picture nomination. They only gave Beauty and the Beast. Yes, a Best Picture nomination. They gave up Best Picture nomination.
Yeah.
They gave Toy Story 3 Best Picture nomination.
They didn't win it. That's what it is.
Yes, they didn't win, which is a crime. I mean,
that might change this year with Inside Out. That could change this year with Inside Out, but I won't spoil
I mean, does
that.
anybody take the Academy seriously nowadays? I mean, come on.
No one does.
Okay. All right.
I take it seriously.
I don't take it seriously when I remember
just because they don't nominate an animated movie doesn't mean like I shouldn't take them serious.
Oh, right. Okay. So, what do you think about Toy Story?
Well, Toy Story is one of those good 3D Pixar movies.
I mean, what it wasn't released in 3D. I mean, it was re-released in 3D.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
He's young, Chris. He's young, brother. You know.
Oh yeah, yes.
Very young.
Most people say they don't like this movie because of the settings and the storyline. But I think it's great. I mean, it doesn't matter how the story goes. I mean, it's just how it goes. Because I mean, there's a few good moments, like the part when Buzz and Woody's arguing at the Dynaco, the little Easter egg. He's all like, I don't know what he says, but he's like, you are a toy.
Actually, it's more like, you are a toy!
That's a real Buzz Lightyear!
You're a sad, strange little man.
You had my pity!
Farewell! Oh, the lines in this movie are awesome.
Oh, you know, the scenes with Sid and Woody.
Sid was a twisted bastard.
Yeah.
Oh,
This is a little kid.
Yes.
Like, this guy needed some hugs.
and all the creepy toys they makes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, overall, it's a good movie. It's like 9 out of 10 to me.
9 out of 10.
That's what I give it.
It's not your turn.
All
I
right.
know, I'm just saying that.
How about you not helping your case?
Toy Story is a fucking.
I think I'm helping my case.
It's a
All right. Everyone,
Who said that?
slow down. The moment we have waited for is finally here. Chris, start the music. Yeah. It is time. And the battle begins. Avi, you're up.
Fine, I'm up. Fine, I'm up. Okay, here we go. Cut the music. Okay.
Make this count.
I'll wait.
I think we should start waiting.
Paul, are you alright?
I don't get what's so funny.
Breathe. God damn it, breathe.
Don't
I
feel bad.
haven't even said anything.
Alright, it's Avi's turn. Let's give him a chance.
I haven't even said anything. Okay.
Alright, the floor is yours, Avi. Go.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, here we go.
Oh boy.
So I might use comparisons to other Pixar films. I'll try to keep. I won't spoil Inside Out because I know a couple of you haven't seen it, but
Yes, don't.
Okay.
I might just use it as an example without saying anything like about the film. But okay, so when I first watched this, well, I was watching all the. I'll just give a little backstory. I was watching all the Pixar films for like my ranking of the list, and I watched Toy Story, the first one, like half a year like prior to that, previous to that. And I didn't like I enjoyed it, but not as much as a kid. And I was like, I really enjoyed Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3, but I still enjoyed Toy Story 1. I don't hate any Pixar films with the exception of Cars 2, but I don't know. It still has a couple good moments, but
That's a fair opinion.
I'm talking about Cars 2, but yeah, Toy Story. It's tricky because like I don't know if I technically like grew up with it. I watched it as a kid, I guess, but I don't remember it, so I don't know how much. It's a tricky film. This kind of film, like it changed animation, so it's tricky to like criticize it. Even like it could be horrible, and I'm not saying it is, but it could be horrible. But like it. No.
It could be horrible. Excuse me.
You're not helping your case.
I
think what he's trying to say is that no matter what the quality of like the movie was, like
it still changed animation, like because I remember 3 years later when A Bug's Life came out. Do any of you like love A Bug's Life?
Great movie.
Not as much as I love Toy Story. Not as much as I love Toy Story.
Yeah, not as much as I love Toy Story.
Now, what if A Bug's Life came out first?
It wouldn't receive as much acclaim.
It wasn't as good. The story wasn't as strong. The voice acting wasn't as good. All that good stuff. The music wasn't.
I don't know. I honestly think people probably would have given it like more claim for changing animation. I still like A Bug's Life also, but I'm just trying to think. I know Toy Story came out 20 years ago, and I know it's like it holds up today, but I'm trying to think if it was released today, if it's on par with stuff like Pixar movies I like much more, like Up, Inside Out, which without spoiling anything is like so that like I even like Monsters Inc. more.
Like, I get what you're saying, Avi. Like, compared to the rest of Pixar's library, Toy Story is pretty tame by those standards. But we have to remember that, first of all, Toy Story was first. So
yeah, I know, but
I go somewhere in terms of plot.
I don't think, like, that could be given, like, I don't know how much of it. I don't know if I'm saying that's an excuse, like, that it was the first film. Because Bug's Life was the second film, and people don't love it as much. Well, like, not even close, but...
I think the tame plot is more just, like, a part of, like, the times. Like, if you look at the plots and stories of movies, like, your average movie nowadays, and compare it to something 20, 30 years ago, they're going to be very different, and to say one is necessarily stronger than the other, you kind of have to look at a little bit of context, but I do get what you're saying.
I mean, it isn't just about the technical innovation. It's just like
but
they handle the story. They handle the story. Yeah. You think I believe you think the technical innovation gets away with storytelling. It doesn't. It's like how the best Disney films are. They handled new technology, but yet managed to balance it with a perfectly well-told story.
Yeah. I don't know.
No,
like
you
I'm
have
just
a very reasonable opinion.
I'm just seeing something like, without spoiling, I just see something like Inside Out 20 years from now will hold up much more than Toy Story, like another couple. I don't know. Inside Out.
No.
Well, Colton, you've seen it.
Inside Out.
No, please.
Because the story was pretty.
I won't spoil anything about it, but yeah, it's definitely Up I like more. I think those movies will hold up. I'm not saying Toy Story's bad. I really like Toy Story.
Ollie.
All right.
I'll stop. I'll stop.
All right, Caleb, I can see it in your eyes. You are chomping at the bit for this. Do we need to play the music? Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to do. All right, Caleb, the floor is yours. Hey, let him have it.
Yeah, let me. Yeah.
Alright.
Okay. I need some self-control. Go on, Caleb.
But Colton and Eric, you agree with me to an extent.
Guys.
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. Like, it's a fair opinion.
I still think Toy Story is gonna hold up though, but mostly because it was simple.
No, but I don't know. I don't know if you can use that as an excuse.
Caleb's trying to speak.
Okay, hold on. All right, now before I say my point, I will agree with Bobby on one thing that he had said to me in the past. About 5% of my love for Toy Story does come because I started as a child. There is a little nostalgia. There is a little bit. No one can deny that. There's a little nostalgia, okay? But now, me and my friend here, I have my friend here. He's going to be my partner in crime on this case, and we're going to show everybody what we love about this movie. The voice casting, the story, the animation is beautiful, and the one underrated part of this movie that I love so much, it's one of my favorite parts of animated movies, is the score. So everyone, let's just take a second, and I want to introduce my friend of my childhood, the one, the only, Randy Newman.
You got a friend in me.
As everybody knows. I mean, who doesn't know this song, everybody? Just put a smile on my face.
And put a smile on everyone's face.
Well, obviously it's more of a scowl, I think.
I'm trying not to. I'm just laughing at this whole thing. I have an inside-out joke to make, but I won't because I know a lot of you haven't seen it, so I might tell Colton afterwards.
I want to hear it.
Really,
I might tell. We'll see.
crux of this conversation because, listen, Avi is so much younger than me. I mean, this came at a time when, I mean, 95, in the theaters. I mean, just the story and like doing that as a child, like playing with your toys. I mean, who didn't do that? I mean, this movie just has such a place in my heart. And listen, I know Avi doesn't say it sucks. Okay, he's not saying that. But to say that this movie is overrated is just wrong in my opinion. It holds us to this day. It's over here. I didn't realize this came out in 95, so it's 20 years old, and it's held up pretty damn good to me. If you ask me, it's held up pretty damn good to this day. It still looks beautiful.
Oh, go ahead, Caleb.
Yeah. To your point, to A Bug's Life, I mean, that story wasn't as good. I mean, that story was fine, but it wasn't near the story and the relationship they had with these characters. And Tim Allen and Tom Hanks, I mean, those two together, they are gold. They can do anything together. Just their chemistry that they have, how they play off each other, and not even this movie, but all the movies, is A+, fantastic. I love this movie with all my heart, and it's like when I feel like someone, I'm not saying that Avi's attacking this movie, but that's what it felt like, saying it's overrated. I mean, it really got to me. It was like protecting my child, I was protecting my child because that's how much I love them. And like I'll get into later why I think it's the greatest trilogy of all time. I think that this is I like this movie more than I like the original Star Wars. I'll just say that. I mean, I love this movie so much. I could watch this movie over and over and over.
Oh my!
And I have done it. And every time I watch Toy Story 3, we're not talking about that one, but I cry because of this whole trilogy and how much I love this whole trilogy. It makes me cry. I'm gonna be 26 on Saturday. I mean, but I still cry because I love it so much for my child. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Bravo!
And to elaborate on it, Avi thinks this won't stand the test of time. It will stand the test of time because the things, the values of Toy Story are so primordial and ageless. You know, how people are two completely different opposites and come together to form a bond, and that could be no more apparent in Woody and Buzz Lightyear. I mean, it's just like it's something that will last forever. It's something. It's one of those movies that never like wears its charm. It will like go on for all time. It will practically be timeless.
If you ask me, honestly, real quick, I'd be like, you were saying that there was a couple films from Pixar that are bad. I would disagree now. I haven't seen.
Wait, what did you say? You faded in and out for a second.
No, I'm saying, like, you said that there was a few films from Pixar that you like better. Now, I would agree with you that, like, Toy Story 3 is on that list. I love it. I haven't seen Inside Out. I haven't seen it. I'm sorry. My God. Good for the first minutes, and then just like it's good, but it's not like the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Like the rest of the movie, it's okay, you know. But like that Toy Story is just it's so consistent. It's so consistently amazingly good. Yeah. Sorry to go.
Kind of losing you, Caleb.
Yeah.
Yeah, Caleb, you're fading in and out on, but
I didn't hear what movie you said was okay.
Alright, well, hopefully it'll show up.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, a little better.
What movie did you say was okay? Like the second half was okay. Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
First 10 minutes was great, but then the rest of the movie just kind of faded for me.
I don't know. I feel like it has enough good moments to make it a good film, like throughout.
It's a good film. It's just not on the level of.
Like it isn't laugh out loud every 20 seconds. There's. I'm just saying. I think it was a good enough. I don't know how you feel about Toy Story is how I feel about like Up or Inside Out.
All right, guys. So let's move on. We got Toy Story 2 to go over.
I like this movie.
Now, I will admit, I think this is probably. I can't say I hate this movie because I absolutely loved it. What I will say is probably the one I liked the least, though barely. I don't think it's on the same quality as the first or the third one, but it's still an absolutely solid movie with a great story, good action. Obviously, you know, Woody and Buzz and the whole crew are back together, but we get some great new characters as well. We get Jesse and Bullseye. We learn a little more about Woody's backstory, about, you know, how he started off, how he came to popularity. I mean, just a wonderful movie, great villains in this movie, and it was absolutely solid. Incredible music. I mean, Joan Collins' song "When Someone Loved Me," that tugs at your heartstrings, man. It really does. Oh yeah, great song. I mean, so yeah, absolutely wonderful movie, and you know what, and the way it ended, you know, with Woody and Buzz fully accepting the fact that Andy's gonna grow up and, you know, they may not be with him forever. I mean, if there wasn't a Toy Story 3, if they never made Toy Story 3, if that's the way this franchise ended, I would have been perfectly okay with it. It was such a satisfying ending. We didn't need anything else, really. So yeah, I loved the end. I love Toy Story 3. Again, amazing movie. Eric, I'm going to come to you next. Toy Story 2, what'd you think?
Toy Story 2, it's probably the one I have seen the least. I haven't seen it. Now, that's not to discredit its quality. I just haven't had any ways to see it since, like, early 2000s. But it's still, when I can remember, it was still a very solid movie. I was very entertained at the time, and I did love that we did get to learn more about the of Woody's backstory, and see the darker sides of this world of toys, like what happened, like with like just some of that. What am I talking about? But one of the things I did enjoy the most was, like you were saying at the end there, Paul, like them learning to grow and accept that they aren't going to be played with forever. Andy will grow up. Even from the start, that made me think, like, just about, like there was no movie at the time when I was a child watching that made me think on an intellectual level as much as, like, that kind of posed, and it kept asking it and showing different sides of it through the whole movie. And that makes it very memorable to me. Definitely gonna watch it again whenever I get the chance to. But for now, since it's been so long, I don't really have a solid stance on where it stands between like Toy Story 1 and Toy Story 2. But it's still a very solid animated movie in my opinion.
All right. Golden, I'll come to you next, but first I have to correct myself. I made a mistake when I was speaking. When I said Joan Collins was the voice of Jessie, my mistake. That was not correct. I was in a Star Trek mind. I don't know why. Jessie is actually voiced by Joan Cusack.
Yeah, Cusack.
So I apologize. I need to correct myself. No one put any negativity in the comments below. I corrected myself. No need to correct me. With that said, Colton, I come to you. Toy Story 2. Go.
Well, let me say, the opening sequence is one of my favorites in cinema. Not only does it continue to start, I guess, the tradition of there being a play sequence at the beginning of each movie, but I love how, for one matter, it pretty much foreshadows Disney owning Star Wars, with all the Star Wars sound effects that pop up. And then when I saw it in theaters, my sister and I were thinking, wait a minute, is Buzz dreaming or something? Like, what's going on? And then bam, he gets blown up. We're like, wait, what just happened? And then Zorg starts laughing. When I saw the words "game over" appear, I started cracking up. And that was a very good. That was a very good fake out scene. And then after that, it starts to kind of be your typical Toy Story movie. Like first, we see Woody we see Woody just being Woody, trying to find his hat, and then we see the puppy from the ending of the first movie show up, and he's aware that Woody is alive. And then we find out that Woody's joined the cowboy camp. Woo, fun times. And then his arm rips, and suddenly the movie comes to a screeching halt and turns to its fun tone, and it suddenly makes us be aware of the fact that, yeah, Andy's going to someday throw Woody away. And then, yeah, it just gets darker from there. That's what I love about it. It actually does bring about the actual, sorry, let me get my thoughts together. It actually does make you wonder what's going to happen when Andy grows up and has to eventually throw his toys away, because that's what we're going to do. And at first, I mean, throwing toys, we never really thought about that, but since Woody and the gang are alive, that means when they get thrown away, they're going to, die. And that's kind of depressing to think about it first when you think about it. But I like the movie went there, and I liked how it answered how the movie kind of became toy survival after that, seeing what Woody and other toys would do to keep themselves from being thrown away, such as the prospect of wanting to be taken to that museum. So even though they're not going to be played with, it's better than being thrown away and being forgotten about, And for the prospector, he's never even played with. He spends, as he said, a lifetime on a dime store shelf watching every other toy being sold, So I keep saying I don't know why. But despite all those dark themes, the movie also got some great comedy. Like, I think Toy Story is one of the few movies I can think of that can actually get away with doing the same joke twice, this case being the deluded Buzz Lightyear gag. It was funny in the first movie, but seeing it in this one was even more fun because this Buzz was even more deluded, and Buzz was like, man, was I that crazy? And then led us to one of the best gags in the series where Rex is like, what are we going to do, Buzz? Use your head. But I don't want to use my head! And then there's, you killed my father. No, Buzz. I am your father. Oh boy. Yeah, that was hilarious, you gotta say. But getting back to the heavy stuff, though, when Jessie's saying when she loved me, that was a good sequence, and it really, once again, it brought you, kind of made you long for your childhood innocence, I think, because as we've gotten older, some people might say that our imaginations kind of go the older we get. I don't know. Well, mine's still fresh because, I'm a writer, so I gotta keep mine up to date. But aside from that, I think one thing I did kind of miss, though, was that not every toy from the first movie was around. We had to basically limit ourselves to, Woody, Buzz, Ham, Mr. Potato Head, and Rex. I mean, and Slinky. Then again, they were like in the in focus during the first movie, but I did miss the soldiers, and we only get to see Bo Peep for like the beginning, and I missed RC too. I mean, I know he was just like only came into play during the end of the first film, but that was still a pretty classic sequence. Speaking of classics, that plane escape sequence, despite being completely implausible, I mean, how could a toy manage to keep up with a plane? Despite that, it was still very awesome, and I liked how Woody managed to talk Jesse through it by saying just pretend it's the last episode of Woody's Roundup. So, let's see here. I think that's everything I had to say about Toy Story 2. Like I said, it does everything that a good sequel should, which is finding a way, it found a good way to actually continue the story, in this case being Woody's backstory. And it was actually pretty cool finding out that Woody was actually a rare collector's toy, and that, I just lost my train of thought. I think that might be everything I had to say. Oh, yeah. I was actually very shocked to find out that Kosu Gamer was the voice of the prospect. I was thinking that now every time I hear him speak, I just keep thinking of Fraser Crane.
Hey, baby, I hear the blues is calling.
The scrambled eggs.
Before we move on, do you want to mention one thing? When you mentioned that little intro sequence with Buzz, neat little thing I found out about that. The only reason the rocks were kind of floating in the air like that was because when they were setting up the scene to be rendered, the Y value of where the rocks were was all messed up, so they were all floating. And the director of the movie was just like, you know what? Let's just go with it.
That was a good happy accident because it made the scene that more visually dynamic, I guess you could say. The animation was wonderful. Mm-hmm. And another great comedic moment was when Buzz number 2 said, "Hang tight, everyone. I'm going to let go of the wall." What? You wouldn't. 1, you would. 2, no, 3.
All right.
Okay, I'm finished.
Chris, you are up next. Toy Story 2.
Toy Story 2. My goodness, Toy Story. Oh my God, I love this movie. As much as I love the original, I feel it's even better than the original. This is richer. This is more emotional. This is more exciting than the first Toy Story is. I mean, I think, and of course, we have the plot having Woody, being Woody being lost again. I mean, he's being picked up by a collector named Al, and Buzz, and the other toys rally to get Woody out there. I mean, I feel like I said, it expands on so many of the themes of the first one, though. Especially the theme of friendship, and of course, you guys the theme of loyalty. Buzz, risking himself and the other toys to, save Woody. It kind of reminds me of Empire Strikes Back when in the sequence, in several sequences, of course, with Han, going out to save Luke, when he's stranded out on Hoth, and Luke going to save Han and Leia, it's just like, these guys care deeply for each other, and I like how it expanded on Woody's backstory, how he was this character of this kids show, of course, because I hate Al, the sleazy, impatient, lazy fat, owner of Al's Toy Barn, voiced by Wayne Knight. Of course, you all don't know or may know is the plays Newman on Seinfeld. Hello, Newman. Okay, let me stop that. But yeah, I mean, I like. They, of course, introduce new characters. Jessie, I love Jessie. She's a lively, energetic, and very, high-spirited character. And she's brilliantly voiced by Joe Cusack. I feel the comedy is deftly handled. I feel this is it fires on all cylinders. This is up there with Empire Strikes Back and Godfather. It's one of the best sequels ever made.
Oh!
Wow! That's a bold statement.
That's a lot of praise. I mean, Empire is the greatest movie ever made.
I like it. I think it.
All right. Anything else, Chris, or would you like your brother to take over?
That's it. What do you think, boy?
Well, Toy Story 2 is one of those sequels you want to see again, over and over again. But I mean, it's nice how you get to see. We finally know what is Woody's backstory. I mean, it kind of feels familiar to the first one, when Buzz really finds out that he's actually a toy, not like a real person. and like the opening is very good. It's to me, I just think there's too many Star Wars references.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna get you on that one.
You hate it?
Well, I don't really like Jesse.
Whoa!
Whoa!
Are you kidding me?
What?
Are you kidding me?
What?
Are you kidding me?
What now?
Wait, what did you say?
He said he doesn't like Jesse.
I could actually see that. I really like. I like.
Don't you start! Don't you start! Don't you start! Don't!
I like Jesse. I like Jesse in the movie, but I could see where he's coming from.
Oh,
Oh God.
oh, here we
God.
go.
Chris, I think you might want to be alone for a moment. So
Maybe.
or unless you want to stay for round 2.
You have anything else?
No, not really.
I think you'll save the discussion for when we're off. All right,
Okay.
everyone, it is time for round 2. Cue the music.
Round 2. Fight!
Wait, why I like this movie better than Caleb, more than Caleb?
All right, Avi, you are up. Toy Story 2.
Okay, I don't get what this I don't get what this debate is. I like this more than Caleb, but I honestly I don't know why. When I was watching all like the Pixar films again, and I got to Toy Story 2, I honestly remembered it. I honestly found it more memorable than like any other Pixar film when I was rewatching it. Besides for maybe Up when I rewatched it, but I don't know. I don't know why. I guess one, it's for me. I remember it the most, so I guess rewatchability, memorability. Also, like, yeah, I'm trying to figure out, like, everything that was pretty much covered by all you guys. Like the scene with Jesse with, what song was it, Colton?
When She Loved Me.
Yeah, so that was really sad. It's probably like top 5 saddest Pixar moments for me. Yeah, I'm trying to think something that like you guys didn't already cover. The best I could do is just say what you guys already said, and it's pretty much exactly what you guys said. I really like this. I'm kind of at a loss for words for that movie.
Alrighty then. Then we shall move on to Caleb. I know Madden's exciting, but come on, this is Toy Story 2 now. You should be thrilled to get it. So
you're always
Caleb,
playing Madden, apparently.
Caleb.
He's always playing Madden.
I know.
There you are.
There you are. Like, you're up, dude. Toy Story 2.
I mean, I love this movie. I mean, it's a good movie. It's one for sure. In my opinion, of course. I just don't like the story as much. I like Jesse. She was a great addition, but the Prospector, he just aggravated the crap out of me. One of his favorite characters. I mean, listen, the movie, it's really good. I mean, it just, to me, it's not on the level as the first one.
That makes me sad.
It's just not as good. I mean, is it funny? Right? And it kind of puts more emphasis on Buzz, because he's trying to rescue Woody. I mean, it's great. I mean, listen, I love the movie. It's not as good as the first one. I think it's the weakest one out of them for sure. Like, I mean, I don't think it's a good sequel. It's not great.
Bless you.
Thank you.
That's all I have to say. I mean, I love this movie. It's the weakest for sure.
All right. Okay, then. Let us move on then. We got the final one, Toy Story 3. I friggin' love this movie. I think it is what is hands down a horror movie. They went so deep into like terms of like a more darker, serious, sometimes even grim storyline, dealing with issues of abandonment and moving on. You know what happens when you're going into a new chapter in your life, and just everything that the Toy Story kind of built up these issues, and they hit it big time with Toy Story 3. I mean, it was so darker. It was more serious. I mean, it was so incredible. Obviously, great storyline. The comedy was all good, but it was hands down the most serious of all the Toy Story films, and very mature. I mean, there were some moments that I could see like a 5-year-old getting a little creeped out watching this movie. Yeah, it was the issues they dealt with, and just everything about it was so well done. You know, that scene where the toys are in, you know, that trash compactor, and they're about to get incinerated. They're looking at each other thinking, this is the end. I'm like, I was legitimately scared of them. I'm like, are they really going to die doing this? They can't kill them off now. Come on. And so, yeah, getting out, that was a huge relief. And then the scene at the end where Andy's handing off all his toys to Molly, you know,
Bonnie,
getting them to playing with them one last time, then driving off to college. Woody, you know, looking long, just like, so long, partner. But Buzz assuring him, hey, listen, we got a whole new opportunity now. We got a new kid to play with. I mean, everything's gonna be okay because we're together. We'll get through this. I promise. It was so emotional, so well done, hands down, absolutely stellar movie. Another film that should have won Best Film of the Year, not just animated film, but Best Film of the Year. It should have won that hands down. So yeah, Toy Story 3, absolutely stellar movie. All right, Colton, I'm going to come to you on this one of this, Toy Story 3.
All right, Toy Story 3, yeah, man. You know, when this movie started, let me go back to Toy Story 2. It's like you said, the movie brought the question of what's going to happen when Andy grows up. Is he going to take Woody to college? Foreshadowing! And whatnot. And you never really thought that they would actually answer that question. I really thought that Toy Story 2 was going to be it, mainly because I just didn't really understand the concept of if a movie is popular enough, a sequel is going to happen no matter what. But anyway.
How's that Cars 3 looking?
Oh boy. Anyway, that's Toy Story 3. So when I saw the trailer for Toy Story 3 and actually saw Andy growing up and then the other toys saying, that's it, we're finished, over the hill, how much are we going for an evening? I'm like, oh my gosh, they're really going there. And it does a very good job doing it. But first, the opening sequence, again, I loved it. I loved the callbacks to the original movies, such as, you know, when he's like, reach for the sky, as he takes on One-Eyed Bart and Evil Dr. Porkchop. It's nice to see Buzz then jumps into the fray as well. And he has a very vibrant imagination, I gotta say. Way more vibrant than I did as a kid. I'm kind of jealous. But anyway, yeah, after that, once we see Andy's grown up, it really hit me that all the other toys were gone when the remaining soldiers said, when the trash bags come out, we soldiers are the first to go. And I'm like, oh my gosh, man, we've all been thrown away. Even Bo was gone, and that's one thing that still really bugs me. I really missed Bo Peep. I mean, I understood that given that she was, well, a lamp, you couldn't really... Her being sold was highly more likely than any of Woody of the other toys, but it still hurts, you know, and I was kind of hoping that, I don't know, by some miracle, maybe she was at Bonnie's house, but that would have been okay, even by Toy Story standards, I guess. Hopefully she's at someone else's. Hopefully some other kid loves her. But getting back on track, what I love most about Toy Story 3 is this theme of survival. It was touched upon in Toy Story 1 and 2, but this movie really goes all out with it, because this time we saw Buzz going to speak with Lotso and the others about getting out of the caterpillar room, and then the other toys instead tackle him, restrain him, and then have him tied up and brought before Lotso, and then reprogram him. I'm like, damn, this got dark. That's the entire movie. I think might have the least amount of laughs in the entire series. I mean, there are some laughs, like when Woody was at Bonnie's place, and he's like, "How am I gonna get out of here?" And the unicorn says, "There is no way out." And Woody's like, and then the unicorn says, "I'm just kidding. It's right out. The front door's open and whatnot." That was a pretty good comical moment, along with Timothy Dalton voicing Mr. Prickle Pants. Yeah.
We're James Bond.
Yep. But anyway. The incinerator sequence was also a scene that really, really disturbed me. Because when I saw it happening, my mom actually jokingly said, this movie's probably going to end with Woody and the others getting, like, I don't know, burned alive or something for all I know. When I actually saw it happening, I'm like, he said it as a joke, and when we actually saw it happening, we're like, oh my gosh, they're gonna die, but they can't kill them off. I don't know why I actually bought it, because, I mean, Toy Story, I know being a kid's movie doesn't mean that mature content can't happen, but by the same token, it would be like, we grew up with these characters, and to just see them actually suffer death, I mean, I know death is a part of life, but I just can't bear to see Woody and everyone dying. There they were, bravely accepting the fact that they're about to get destroyed, and I'm like, this has to be a dream or something, and nope, it's really happening. But then the claw comes down, scoops them up, and everything is right in the world.
Deus Ex Machina.
Come on, the Toy Story is no stranger to Deus Ex Machina.
Oh yeah, no.
It's not. It's not.
Yeah.
Woody, the Rocket, a match! But still, despite the fact the trash compactor scene was one of the trash compactor. Man, I'm thinking of Star Wars now. The landfill scene was still one of the most tense moments, not only in Toy Story, but I think in. I know I keep saying it all cinema a lot, but it really was a very well done tense moment because it really brought us to a part of the franchise we never thought we'd get to, which is. Remember how Stinky Pete said, you're going to be rotting forgotten in some landfill? And I'm thinking, yeah, like that's never going to happen. Flash forward some months later, holy crap, they're in a landfill. Why, Pixar? Why? But I did like how Woody and Buzz came together to help out Lotso, even though he didn't deserve it, because, well, they're the good guys. They got to set an example for everyone. And, well, I also did like that Andy did want to bring Woody with him to college. Like, sure, he did ditch Woody for Buzz back in the first film, but in the end, so it might seem kind of weird that he decided that Woody is now once again his favorite toy. But I did like that he chose him in the end because, well, Woody was his favorite to begin with, and yeah, probably has a special place in Andy's heart, among other things. Let's see here, do I have anything else I want to add? Oh yeah, that monkey that was providing the surveillance for the daycare, that was
creepy.
Okay, everything in this movie was disturbing. I got
yeah, this was
especially when they reprogrammed Buzz. Once again, we have diluted the astronaut, as Ham called him, but this time they actually, rather than just playing, instead of playing it for comedy, they did a very good job playing it for drama, because Buzz was actually a legitimately scary character once he was under Lotso's control. The way he stepped out of the shadows and then proceeded to mercilessly beat everyone up and then throw them into the holding pens, I really liked that sequence. It was very, very good writing, and that's one of the best things about Toy Story is the writing of its story arcs. Even the TV specials that aired on Halloween and then Toy Story that Time Forgot were very well written as well, because they still continue the theme of toy survival, among other things. Especially what they did with the third one. Like, I actually liked how they revisited the idea that some toys might not know that they're toys, and Buzz is like, can you believe it? I'm like, have you forgotten, Buzz? Hold that thought. The funny thing about all this is that I was not expecting such a dark storyline, because at first I was just going to be your typical toys escaping from daycare sort of thing. Boy, was I wrong. But fun fact, originally from what I've read, Toy Story 3's storyline was actually going to be about defective Buzz Lightyears, all being recalled. And I think I kind of wanted to see that storyline, because I think it would have also explained why Buzz had that whole deluded, I'm not really a toy, I'm a space ranger thing. But I like the story that we got anyway. And I know that the nostalgia critic said that the way that Andy played with his toys at the end was stupid, but I disagree. Had Andy played with his toys by himself, I would thought that was a little cheesy. But the fact that he was playing with Bonnie, who was a kid, made the whole scene very appropriate, I think, and heartwarming, especially the ending. And then the ending where Woody says "So long, partner," and then we go up into the clouds, and the movie ends the way the first film began, with a bunch of clouds. Yep, it really got to me, especially since, well, Andy was an adult now. We were all adults since we grew up. Well, most of us grew up with Toy Story. Those are very satisfying love letter to the fans that grew up with the franchise. Agreed. I give it 2 thumbs up. I'm sorry.
I give it 3 thumbs up. I'm sure we all would. All right, Eric, I'm going to come to you next. Toy Story 3.
Wow, I don't know. Toy Story 3, it's just... I don't know how I can explain it better than Colton already did. It was as I said, one of the things I loved about the Toy Story 2 was how it took a slightly darker turn. The story took a little more serious themes, and I definitely loved that in Toy Story 3. I love how, as a lot of us saw it when we were really young, and it really had an impact on me when, I was a kid when I always saw these old Toy Story 1, Toy Story 2, and, it was part of my childhood. I was a child like Andy was, and as he's growing up, I'm reaching that point of maturity as well. I'm sure a lot of people who saw it when they were young are as well. And so all these, like, darker themes of abandonment and moving on, like you said, Paul, are really hitting me a lot harder. The incinerator scene was traumatic for me because I'm like, oh my god, this is my childhood right here. No. But I definitely think that it handled its plot really well. It was, I don't know how to explain it better than Colton did. Pretty much he took all my mouth. It was a wonderful movie, and definitely, even though I haven't seen Toy Story 2 for a while, it's definitely my favorite of the three.
All right then. All right, Chris, you're up next. Toy Story 3.
Okay, Toy Story 3. Toy Story 3. This is one of the few second sequels that actually works, I mean, it feels like, Godfather Part 3 or The Matrix Revolutions, or Batman Forever. They pretty much, really sunk those individual franchises to new lows. But this one, Toy Story 3, manages, to, continue the level of quality that the first two movies had set. It's like, Return to Jedi, Return to King. They, continue to, give it their best. I mean, it's just like, of course, Andy's about to move on. Toys, are accidentally placed in the daycare, and they have to face this very not so cuddly teddy bear voiced by Ed Beatty, who was Otis in the original Superman movies. Yeah.
What?
Huh?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Lotso, the symbol of hope.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Otis from the earlier Superman movies. What was I about to say? Oh yeah. He's not so. I mean, he's probably a much more scarier character than most of the antagonists than these characters have faced in the previous two films. But what I like is they continually, like I said, they continually expand upon things and make things richer. The things of abandonment, the things of, moving on, growing up, and especially fear of obstacles. These toys fear that they may be put out of the pasture. That was a hard. I mean, these are not easy things to tackle. And one thing about it, one of the great parts about Toy Story is the character Andy and this, going into maturity. You could have, let the character, at the same age he was in the first film, but they didn't. I mean, I wasn't really so sure about that, but that was a really that was a bold choice on the part of the writers. And his maturity is one that is seeped deeply into the themes of the film. And I felt, the comedy was handled. It's like it's continuing. This is still movie magic at its best. Comedy, the animation still is excellent. The trash compactor scene. Wow, I was on the edge of my seat with that. It was really one of the most suspenseful and intense moments in the entire film. And probably the scariest moment in an anime film. In the most traumatic sense, like Bambi's. I wouldn't compare it to Bambi's. Lover being killed, but still, it's pretty a terrifying scene. But this movie really, it continues. I mean, it continues the level of excellence that Pixar has given us. It's really it shows us why they are at the top of the animation mountain. Okay. And what do you think about Toy Story 3?
Well, most movies that I prefer movie usually horrible. This is one of the movies that is not horrible. I mean, it is a strong film because, yeah, Andy is growing older and the toys are getting old, and it's hard to get rid of your favorite toys until they go to the daycare and go into the Caterpillar room, and not go into the Butterfly room, and just getting like controlled by a teddy bear named Lasso. And
Not so cuddly, huh?
no. Sounds like strawberries too. I mean, we do get to find out why is he mean and controlling everybody at the daycare. Because, I mean, he is the owner, I mean, Daisy, the big baby, and he's trying not like to remember when Woody like reminds him. And it's not that 2 and 1 were bad. I mean, this one was way better than 2 and 1.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, one thing I don't think we haven't mentioned yet. I think Michael Keaton was Ken. I mean,
I was about to say.
is that just hysterical or what?
That was Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was Michael Keaton. He was Ken.
Watch it again.
All right.
Oh yeah, before I forget though, does anyone else think that Sid was a remarkably well-adjusted, young adult for someone that got traumatized that saw his toys?
Did he appear in that
Oh
movie?
god, I forgot to mention about that.
Did he appear in that movie? I didn't see him.
Yes, you know that garbage truck that Lotso gets stuck to
Yeah.
near the end? The driver of it is Sid.
I didn't know that. Did he?
Yeah, there's like he has a name tag on.
Something close.
Oh.
If you Sid appears in two very don't blink if you or you're missing moments, but you can definitely see he wears his familiar skull and crossbones shirt. Was it skull and crossbones? Or was it just a skull? Never mind.
Anything else?
Yeah, I'll have to rewatch that.
Anything else? Okay. Okay. All right.
All right, so I think all the fighting was mostly centered around the first film. By this point, I think peace has been restored. There's agreement and mutual respect for this one. So, Avi, I'm going to go to you on this one, Toy Story 3. No need to fight anymore.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
it's just a skull shirt.
Okay, I'm gonna I'll get this out quickly. So I like all of this movie, and like the only complaint I have about it, and like besides the nitpicks that I can't think of, but you probably nitpick it. The only complaint, and Doug Walker did bring this up, and I agree with him partially, is the ending. Yeah, Colton's right that it does make up for some of the fact that he was like showing what's her name at the end?
Bonnie.
Bonnie. Bonnie
Okay.
or Molly?
Bonnie.
Yeah,
Molly
Bonnie,
is his sister.
Bonnie, okay. Yeah, it does make up for the fact a little bit, but you can see that they were intending that he's also missing the toys. It's not just like he's showing her what the toys were.
Don't we all miss our childhood innocence?
I know, but it is like a tiny. I don't agree with Doug Walker fully, but I do think it is a tiny bit sappy.
Sappy?
Just
Okay.
like a little bit overdone. Just like a little.
Okay, I think
If they toned it down a tiny bit, it might have been perfect. I just think it's like a tiny bit overdone.
Oh,
No, I'm
But
sorry.
I could be in
Crazy
I'm
at
in the
some point.
minority.
Doug Walker's full of shit on that one.
No, I think they just make it a bit too sappy. If they tone it down just a tiny bit, I honestly do not think I honestly do not think an 18-year-old who we don't know, he might have not played with his toys in 10 years since that's how long the last movie had been. I would understand if he never let go of his toys, but it's been 10 years since he last used them.
No.
I don't think he'd be this upset that he's giving away his toys.
No.
But fine, I could be wrong about that.
Completely.
I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong about that. That's just my.
Yes. I still have stuffed animals from when I was like an infant, and while I don't play with them, I have no intention of ever giving them up.
Yeah.
None.
Okay, I don't know.
They're in my closet, but you can see them. So.
I just feel there was something off about that last scene, but other than that, it's a perfect film.
Okay.
Well, okay, no. All right, Caleb, you're up.
All right. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, listen, you guys pretty much covered. I mean, I go on last. I really don't have much to say. I mean, other than I love this. This is my second favorite. The ending to me, I mean, it's perfect. I mean, my God, I cry at this movie. I mean, come on. I mean, the ending is so because, I mean, okay, listen. You didn't grow up with this.
Yeah, I think that's what it all depends on how much I grew up with it.
Listen, that's where the nostalgia comes in. It's number 3 because you really grew up with it. I did, and Chris did, and Paul did. We grew up with him. He was already. We played with his toys just like we did, and watching him was like, it breaks my heart. Like, no, those are your toys, Andy. But you're growing to college. It makes perfect sense. It was the perfect ending. The perfect ending to a perfect trilogy, in my opinion. And the reason that I say that this is the perfect trilogy, this is the best time to say it, because every single movie in this trilogy is a 10 out of 10 for me. I would do. They're all 10. They're all 10. And the reason why I would give Star Wars the edge is because I think that the original Star Wars is like a 9.5 out of 10. It's not a perfect 10 to me. So it's like all 3 of these movies are perfect 10 out of 10. They're all perfect movies. That's why I said that it's the greatest trilogy. There's nothing wrong with any of these movies. But I would just have that Toy Story 3 was on the side of like Indiana Jones 3 and not like Conan 3. Those other like shitty other sequels. I'm glad that it was like almost as good as the first one. It's so close, but I the first one just a little bit more. So, but overall, I agree with Avi. It's the perfect movie.
All right, so that'll wrap up the Toy Story Trilogy discussion. Do have a couple other things to go over. Let's try and make this quick, everyone. This is something that I wanted to do separately, but because we kept putting this show off, I decided to add this to the main show when I brought this up earlier. So, as we all know, we got new solo Spider-Man films coming out, new solo Batman films coming out. We're all excited about that. So, as we all know, heroes are mainly defined by the villains they face. So, each of us came up with 2 lists, each containing 5 villains that we want to see in these upcoming solo Spider-Man and Batman films. So, we're going to go over those really quick. So, everyone, we'll start with Batman, then go to Spider-Man. I want everyone to give me like 5 villains, one at a time, of villains you'd like to see in movies. Let's try and keep this quick. So, short explanation of why you want to see these villains in this franchise. So, I'll go first. With Batman, number 5, the number 5 villain I want to see in a Batman solo film, Clayface. I think we have the technology to do it. He's an interesting character. I think it's time we get a live-action Clayface. I would like to see him. So, the number 5 Clayface. Caleb, I will come to you next. Give me a villain that you want to see in the upcoming Batman films.
All right, so all the villains that I chose have already been done in live action, but I just think that we can do them better.
Okay.
My number 5 is now coming off the high of I think that we could do a comic book version of Scarecrow, not the one that we got in Batman Begins, or the Dark Knight Rises. A really comic book version of Scarecrow, you know. So yeah, that's my.
Okay, good pick. Eric, I'm going to come to you next. Give me a villain you'd like to see in the upcoming Batman films.
Well, like Caleb, my first pick is, well, my number 5 is also someone who's appeared in live action. He is the Penguin. He's often referred to, as a famous Batman villain, but I really don't think we get to see quite enough of him. And if we use one of the newer Batman films, we could actually get a lot more understanding for him, and he could be pushed into the public a lot more.
Okay. Cole, now we'll come to you next. Give me a villain you want to see in the upcoming Batman films.
I think maybe it might be funner to have simply just being Batman's villains being just the mob, Rupert Thorne and all that jazz. because like if he did a solo Batman movie that was kind of punching as an origin story, that would be a good way to, I think, get him started up, which is not with his superpowered enemies, but just regular bad guys, just to show why Gotham really needs him, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would be good, kind of like a year one type movie.
Yeah.
Okay, yep, that's good. All right, Chris, you're up next. Give me a villain you want to see in the upcoming Batman movies.
Well, and this may not be likely, but I like to see Hugo Strange in the Batman film.
That would be.
I mean, I feel, he would be like a not just a physical match, but a psychological. Because this is a guy who knows who Bruce Wayne is. I mean, he's probably like who knows Bruce Wayne and Batman are one and the same. Mm-hmm. So I feel he could, it would be just a psychological battle of wits between them. And also Black Mask, could be an interesting antagonist. And he seems to be a lethal and deadly character, even more deadly than the Joker or something. Of course, who's the of course, he's the opposite number of Batman. Okay. Clayface, I would like to see, in the Batman.
Chris, sorry, one at a time.
Oh, sorry.
No problem. All right.
Of course, Black Mask would be more threatening than Joker if he isn't Joker.
All right. So number 4 on my list, someone that we've seen before, Poison Ivy. I think she's an interesting character. I think she's well done in the animated series, but Batman and Robin, aside from the fact that Uma Thurman was smoking hot, but was she really that threatening? I don't think so. I would like to see a better version of Poison Ivy. So that's my number 4. Caleb, give me another pick.
All right, so my number 4 on my list. Hold on, let me pull up my list, boy. My number 4 has already been mentioned, and that's Penguin. That's the Penguin. I mean, listen.
Hold on for a moment, Caleb. Let's just say goodbye to my little brother. He has to, get up for school in the mornings.
Gotcha. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Hope you can join us next time. All right, go on, Caleb.
What'd you say, Caleb?
No, I was telling you to not feel bad because like I had to go to bed soon too because I had to work in the morning.
All right, so let's try and make this quick, everybody.
My number 4 is Penguin. Listen, I love what I did, but come on, we can do better than that. I want to see from the animated show, that kind of Penguin, like gangster.
Agreed. All right, Eric, you're up next. Give me a villain you want to see in Batman.
All right. Well, like Chris, my villain will be my number 4 is also a very will serve as a very intellectual foe for Batman, and that would be the Riddler. The one time he's been seen in film has been absolutely terrible.
Whoa! Okay, no, sorry, disagreeing with you completely. Disagree completely. Jim Carrey was the best part of that movie. I loved him. Handled it perfectly. But go on.
Anyway.
But I just feel like I'm very, very excited to see the Riddler back in the modern Batman movies.
All right, Colton, you're up next.
Okay, for me, he's already been done, but I'd like to see, he's already been done twice already, but I would like to see Two-Face. He was good in The Dark Knight, but I felt like since he didn't really become Two-Face until the movie was nearly over, we didn't really get the chance to see the full scope of what his character could be like, and thus his motivations seemed kind of rushed, so to speak.
Yeah.
Not that was bad, but I think he can, like it was said about Scarecrow, I think they can do better with Two-Face.
Okay, good point. All right, Chris, you're up next.
Number villain, who do I want to see on? I think I mentioned Clayface. I think will be another interesting antagonist to see in the Batman feature. Who else? I mean, maybe I want to see the Mad Hatter. I mean, I want to see him, or maybe even Firefly. Another character could turn out to be more than a bit to handle for Batman.
Yeah. All right. It's funny you mentioned Mad Hatter because that was the next person I wanted, number 3 on the list, Mad Hatter. I mean, he's an interesting villain, complex villain. I'd like to see some hypnotic powers enter Gotham City. I'd like to see how Batman tackled that. So Mad Hatter's definitely a villain I want to see. Caleb, give me another one.
All right. So this next one again. It's already been mentioned, but I have to say it, okay? And my number 3 is for 2 reasons. We need to make a Tommy Lee Jones. What the fuck were you doing in this movie? I don't know what the. My God, it was so fucking terrifying. The makeup looked freaking horrible. That was just awful. And I don't in the movie for like 10 minutes, and then you killed them off. So I mean, I went like Two-Face. I mean, again, that's what I love. So yeah, Two-Face.
All right, Eric, give me another one.
All right. And before I move on, I apologize. I mixed up the movies that the Riddler's in. I, for some reason, thought he was in the fourth old Batman movie, not like. I thought he was in the one with like Mr. Freeze. My bad.
No.
And I was referring to the movie, not his performance. Anyway, my number 3 on my Batman list is going to be Ra's al Ghul. Now I know we saw him somewhat recently in Batman Begins, but through like just the more I've learned about the Arkham game, through Batman through the Arkham games and through movies, animated series, all that good stuff. I really would find it be interesting to have the League of Assassins in this new universe, and just part of it is also I love to see him in Arrow, and it was fantastically represented in there, and I just would like to see Batman go toe to toe with Ra's al Ghul in the League of Assassins in the newer movies.
Yeah,
I would like to see that too. All right, Colton, give me another one.
Man, Bat. I'd like to actually. What?
Nice.
No, I was like that came out left field. I like that. I like that.
But yeah, I'd like to see Man Bat because I think it could be pretty scary for one matter, and the right effects are employed to bring the character to life. And mainly because I do want to see at least one supernaturally or superpowered villain in Batman's arsenal, as opposed to them all being kind of grounded in reality, like the Nolan verse was, so to speak.
Yeah.
And also because I think it could be interesting with the effects they do today to see how they could do some of the things like Man Bat does, like his ability to fly, among other things. And so yeah, that's just something I want to see in one of the villains.
Chris, give me another one.
Okay, another one I would like to see another villain I would like to see is Deathstroke. I want to see Deathstroke in the Batman movie so bad.
All right.
Yeah, he seems to be very twisted and very psychotic, adversary for Batman. I would definitely like to see him go toe to toe. The fight sequences would be just fucking off the chart, off the wall. Just imagine them seeing them go against each other in the Batman movie. Wow.
You get Monica Bennett to play Deathstroke in the movie, that would be gold.
Oh yeah.
All right, so my number 1.
Wait, Paul, you're on number 2, you mean?
Oh yeah, number 2. My bad. Sorry. All right. Number 2 is Mr. Freeze. I mean, he's such a tragic, sympathetic villain. The animated series did him so well. Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'm sorry, I love you, but you fucked him up in that movie. Too many ice fun that was bullshit. Let's get a real Mr. Freeze. Let's get a tragic, sympathetic Mr. Freeze with the frozen wife and all that. And, yeah, let's get Mr. Freeze in here. Let's do him right, please. All right. So, Caleb, give me number 2.
All right. So number 2, you already mentioned.
You're breaking up, Caleb.
Sorry. Is that better?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right. No, just saying. My choice for number 2 is Poison Ivy.
Caleb.
To the animated show, because that is my favorite incarnation of Batman. So I'd love to see like a version of that. Number 2, Poison Ivy.
Okay. Eric, you're up next. Give me number 2.
Well, I have to agree with you, Paul. My number 2 is Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze was kind of one of those villains I was introduced to much later of all the Batman villains, and I really did like that tragic backstory of his. I thought him being such a smart villain with his and having like such heavy technology, which with the his freezing ability was very interesting. Loved his backstory in the animated series, and as much as I love how silly he was as played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, I want an actual performance of Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. All right, Colton, you're up next. Give me number 2 on your list.
All right, my number 2 is Poison Ivy, and yeah, I liked Uma Thurman and all that jazz, but yeah, Batman and Robin, she was played by the problems of that movie also. So anyway, as we all know, Batman has a pretty lousy track record with women, so I'd like to see Poison Ivy, if that track record continues into the Affleck films, I'd like to see Ivy sort of maybe torment him about that while also trying to seduce him, among other things. That could be interesting to see, I think.
Yes. All right, Chris, give me another one.
I'm not even sure what other villains I'm gonna see in the Batman. I think we pretty much covered. I think we pretty much covered who. I think I've pretty much covered who I want to see.
Okay. Well, in that case, here's my number 1, and if they're actually, I know that some people are thinking they're teasing Jason Todd in the Batman vs Superman trailer. If that's the case, they have to include Red Hood. Red Hood has to be a villain in these movies. I need to see Red Hood. If they're teasing Jason Todd as Batman v Superman, we got to see Red Hood. So number 1, Red Hood. I need to see this guy. Make it happen. Caleb, give me number 1.
Okay. Number 1, listen, has already been said multiple times, but my God, it has to happen. So my second favorite Batman villain of all time, behind, of course, the Joker, is Mr. Freeze. Okay, in the version we got, listen, as funny and as a comedian, whatever as Batman Robin is, the movie is fucking trash, as we all know. And his performance was freaking awful. It was not the Mr. Freeze that I wanted, that I knew. The Mr. Freeze that I knew would kill anybody to save his wife, not dance around in slippers, in a fucking robe, and dance and make his head sing fucking Christmas carols or whatever. No, he would kill those if he meant like saving his wife. Like he would rip Batman's heart out if it meant saving. That's the Mr. Freeze I want. That's the Mr. Freeze we better get. We have the technology, make it CGI, it would look really, really good. Mr. Freeze has to happen.
I agree with you. All right. Eric, you're up next. Give me number 1 on your list.
Oh, number 1. How I would be so excited if they announced Deathstroke is going to be a villain in the Batman movies.
Nice.
I love Deathstroke so much. Like, ever since I was first introduced to him in Teen Titans, to the Arkham games, to, like, every incarnation I've ever, into even Arrow, every incarnation of Deathstroke is just a pure badass. He is a threat that, like, takes, like, a phenomenal amount of effort to even come close to being. I just think he could make an incredible adversary to Batman in the newer films, and I would just be thrilled to see it. If they could get the guy from Arrow who played Deathstroke to, thank you, if they could get him to play Deathstroke, that would be even better.
Agree 100%. All right, Colton, you're up next. Give me number 1.
Okay, he's been said more than once, but the Riddler. Guys, well, I think that a lot of people say that the Dark Knight is a crime thriller, but I think that if the Riddler was the villain, with the right writer behind him, I think they can do a pretty good job emphasizing Batman's more detective roots and all that, Yeah, depending on, like I said, depending on who's writing his material, among other things. But I think he would be a pretty good villain to give the more grounded audience someone to watch. And that's my 2 cents.
Alrighty then. Chris, can you think of anyone else you want to see, or?
I mean, like I said, I pretty much covered who I wanted to see in the Batman movie. I really can't think of anyone else.
That's fine. That's fine.
I probably want to see Killer Croc. So,
Well, Croc exists.
Yeah, I know he's gonna be in Suicide Squad, but
he's in Suicide Squad. So that's why he's.
Yeah, I pretty much want to see him in Batman. Yeah.
All right, so let's move on. let's move on to the Spider-Man. Let's name some villains you want to see in the Spider-Man movie. So I will start first. My number 5, she's more like an anti-hero than an actual villain, but I still like to see her, Black Cat. I mean, seeing her in the animated series, she was such a badass. Felicia Hardy was so cool. I think they were going to try to introduce her in Amazing Spider-Man 3 if that movie got made. I think she would have been Black Cat in here, but let's get Felicia Hardy in the Black Cat suit. So, yeah, number 5 for me is Black Cat. I like to see Black Cat. All right, Caleb, you're up. Give me a villain you want to see in Spider-Man movies.
Absolutely. So, number 5 on my list was actually going to be the main villain, I believe, if they advance Spider-Man forward. It's Vulture. I'm a pretty, Adrian Toomes is not very well known as a villain, in my opinion. He's not Spider-Man, but I would love to see him. I think it's pretty interesting, and I think it'd be interesting to see Spider-Man face off again. So my number 5 is Vulture.
All right, good pick. All right, Eric, you're up. Give me number 5.
Well, I also kind of had a similar opinion. I also would be very excited to see Black Cat appear in the newer Spider-Man movies. I don't know if she would necessarily serve a villainous role, given that she is an anti-hero, but I think if she was like partnered up with, like, say, a crime lord such as Kingpin, who does exist in this universe, then we could potentially see a pretty interesting villain out of her.
Nice.
Okay, yes, it's indeed very nice. I would love to see Vince D'Onofrio be Kingpin in a Spider-Man movie. That would be amazing.
Yeah, I would have put him on my list, but I haven't seen Daredevil yet, so I want to hold on.
It's fucking awesome.
I will.
All right, Colton, you're up. Give me a villain you would like to see in the Spider-Man movies.
Okay, now these are not in order of appearance, but my list is not in order of importance. But my villains are actually in order of appearance of how I would like this.
Okay.
All right.
Spider-Man. Starting off with the Chameleon, I think he'd be a pretty good breather villain for Spider-Man to face off against heroes. Most of the heroes are very well-known public figures and whatnot. The point is, none of them have secret identities, but Spider-Man does, and it'd be very easy for a Chameleon to frame him, I think. And it would be also a good way to introduce the hero or menace storyline into the Spider-Man universe of the MCU.
Good thinking. All right, Chris, you're up. Give me a villain you want to see in the Spider-Man movies.
I want to see this guy, be tackled as the antagonist in a Spider-Man movie. If that villain would be Vulture,
Okay.
I feel. I don't really know too much about the character, but he seems like a perfectly, pretty much a pretty good match for Spider-Man. Like I said, I don't know much about him. I feel he could be. He'd be a worthy adversary for him. And in fact, John Malkovich, I think, was when they were going to make a Spider-Man 4 with Sam Raimi direction. I thought he was going to be negotiations to play that character. He would have been perfect for the role. That's who I would want to see in a Spider-Man film.
I like that pick. All right. My number 4 is another villain who's very not very well known, and that's Shocker. I think Shocker would be a good villain. He's got an edge. I have a knack for villains with electricity. I think he'd be a good match for Spider-Man. So Shocker would be my number 4. Someone else I'd like to see. Caleb, you're up next. Number 4.
All right, number 4 on my list. I know he's gonna be higher on your list. I have a feeling he's gonna be higher on your list. But my number 4 is Kraven the Hunter. I think Kraven's a great villain, and I think it's a different dynamic when he goes up against someone. And I don't know, I just like to see him. I loved him in the animated series, so I'd love to see him in a live-action film.
Agree. Eric, you're up. Give me number 4.
All right, for me, number 4 would be either a return for Venom or the introduction of Carnage. One of them, I just want to see the symbiotes back in the Spider-Man films, but I want to see it done right. It was not very well handled with Venom, so I would be very happy if they reintroduced it. And recently I put him and Carnage in the same spot as I don't know a whole lot about Carnage, and obviously since I'm not setting up how the movie would be done, I don't know which one I'd rather see, but I would just like to see the symbiote reintroduced back into the Spider-Man movies and have it be handled under better writers than Spider-Man 3.
I agree 100%, and I know that Caleb agrees with you 100% as well. All right, Colton, you're up. Give me number 4.
All right, my next villain will be John Jameson, aka the Man Wolf. So the story I wrote is that John returns to Earth after a space mission with 2 mysterious objects. One is a meteorite that contains venom, and the other is a gem that transforms him into Man Wolf. I want to see this happen because I think it would be a good way to get J. Jonah Jameson involved in the movie as more than just comedy relief, and it would be a good way to push his vendetta against Spider-Man in the off chance that he badly hurts his son in a fight. But when the police arrive, all they see is him standing over a gravely injured John.
No, that's really good. I like that.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, you're up. Give me number 4.
Okay, another villain who I would like to see in the Spider-Man movie is Mysterio.
Mysterio would be awesome.
Mysterio seems to be a very interesting character. He seems to be, of course, he's the master. Of course, he doesn't especially any superpowers, but he is a master of illusion. He's a magician, hypnotist. He's a villain. I think that Spider-Man he'll be hard to handle, because he has so many tricks up his sleeve. He'll be a worthy adversary for Spider-Man to take on.
I agree. All right. So moving on, number 3 on my list. We've already seen the Green Goblin twice.
Yes.
Let's show the other Goblin. Number 3 on my list. I want to see the Hobgoblin. Let's give some respect to the other Goblin that Spider-Man has to deal with all the time to get headaches facing. I want to see the Hobgoblin. And let's put the Green Goblin aside for a moment. Let's see the Hobgoblin. So number 3 on my list, Hobgoblin. Caleb, number 3.
Well, Paulie, best friends think alike. Number 3 on my list is Hobgoblin.
No,
I had the same, Green Goblin. I mean, you already seen him in that movie. Let's get the Hobgoblin. Why not? I mean, he is awesome. He's anything like I get animated. Then I bring him on.
All right. Eric, number 3.
All right, for me, number 3. Now, important note: I would not want this to be until a couple movies later down the line, but I would be excited to see the Lizard make a return in the Spider-Man films.
Okay.
I felt like he was not incredibly well done. He was just kind of a very generic bad guy in the Amazing Spider-Man 1.
Yeah.
And that doesn't seem like a great way to handle it, because after, the loss of Uncle Ben, Kurt Connors in some of the comics seems like a father figure to Peter Parker, and him having the condition of turning into the Lizard not only sets up an antagonist, but also a conflict for Peter Parker and Spider-Man himself. And I think that could be a very interesting dynamic for a movie if they handle it correctly.
I agree 100%. Colton, you're up. Give me number 3.
And next for me is Alistair Smythe. So, in the previous storyline, Peter bonds with the symbiote and uses its power to defeat Man-Wolf, but with John now in the hospital and the gym destroyed, preventing anyone from knowing that he was Man-Wolf, an even bigger spirit campaign is launched to get Spidey by the Daily Bugle. So I think that'll be a good way to push the Hero Minor storyline, and Oscorp takes advantage of the outcry and employs Alistair Smythe and his new Spider Slayer to capture Spider-Man so they can extract the Venom symbiote from them as they're aware of its alien properties.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right, Chris, you're up. Number 3.
Okay, another villain, because we see iterations of the Green Goblin, of course, in Sam Raimi's films, of course, in the previous movie. I mean, of course, I can't say. Of course, in the last half of Raimi's trilogy, it wasn't well handled, nor is it well handled in Mark Webb's sequel. I want to see I like you guys, and I want to see Hobgoblin in a live-action Spider-Man film. Yes.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. He has the same identical powers of a Green Goblin, but with a slightly perfected strength potion and everything like that. I would like to see Harry Osborn, take on the mantle of Goblin. I don't think their whole conversation was well handled in Spider-Man 3. I mean, it really was one of the pitfalls of that whole film. But yeah,
one of many.
Yeah, of many. But yeah, that Hobgoblin, yeah. Bring him on in a number. And then
You know, it's interesting you said that, Chris, because I was just thinking how awesome would this be? Norman Osborn is Green Goblin, and Harry Osborn is Hobgoblin, teaming up to take down Spider-Man. How friggin' cool would that be?
Pretty cool.
That'd be pretty awesome.
Now it will have me stoked. Oh my.
All right. Number 2, this is the guy I need to see. That's Kraven the Hunter. He's long overdue. I think he'd be a great first villain for Spider-Man. I'm really hoping he's the first villain in the Spider-Man solo film. He's a great character. It's about time to get a live action. So yeah, number 2, Kraven the Hunter. Let's do him. All right, Caleb, you're up. Number 2.
All right, so number 2 and 1 are like way above everything else on my list. Like 2 and 1, and then everything else. So number 2 on my list, it's not even close. Is Carnage. I'm a huge Carnage fan. I think this guy's he's just fucking nuts. These guys are crazy. I'd love to see an iteration of Carnage.
All right, Eric, you're up. Number 2.
Alright, for me, number 2 would be the Chameleon. I think his powers of like being able to manipulate whatever his shape and what he wants to be. I can't even talk today. I essentially think that like was mentioned earlier, the Hero Man's theme can be introduced very well with the Chameleon. He can, be just an absolute menace to Spider-Man because he can transform into, even any of the people he loves, frame Spider-Man for all sorts of crimes as he does in the comics, and even team up with, and he can even be great to lead Spider-Man into traps, and he has teamed up with other villains in the past and make some deadly combinations. Like, in the comics, it's very well known he teamed up with Kraven the Hunter, and I just would be so excited to see him in the film, especially because he doesn't receive a lot of love outside of the animated series, and he was like the first villain for Spider-Man. I think he should be more well known.
Good point. All right, Colton, you're up. Give me number 2.
All right, number 2 for me in this storyline will be Carnage. Yeah, I know that Venom usually comes first, but I think it would be actually good if it was the other way around. Like, for example, Peter is aware of how this Venom symbiote is changing his personality, and he tries to use it less. But after losing badly to Carnage in a fight, he decides to use it again to give himself a fighting chance, and as such, he becomes even more dependent on it than he was in the previous 2 films.
I think I know where this is going.
What?
No, I was saying, I see where the end of the story. I like it a lot.
Thank you. And storyline for this is that Smite's been defeated, and people are starting to look into Oscorp's studio activities, so they go small and send in the demented Cletus Cassidy to retrieve the final traces of the Venom symbiote from Dr. Connor's lab. Of course, things go bad, and he becomes Carnage. All right, next.
All right, Chris, give me number 2.
All right, number 2, and of course, I think this character will be well done. I think she will welcome, addition, welcome adversary for Spider-Man. It is Black Cat. That's a very interesting story. She did some very traumatic event when she was in college. Her reflexes, abilities are very similar to another, cat from another comic book universe. And yes, and she seems to have a very the cat, this cat in this female cat in costume from DC. She has a on again, off again, romantic interest in Spider-Man. It's going to be very interesting to see how they play off each other. I mean, I would like to see that in a Spider-Man movie.
That would be an interesting discussion. Which cat's hotter, Black Cat or Catwoman?
Black Cat.
That's for another time. Woo! That would be a discussion for another time. Which pussy do you want to cast? I had to go there. I'm sorry.
Let's get back on track.
All right. I'm sorry. I had to go there. All right. Anyway, number 1. I couldn't really pick which one I wanted to see more, so I gave him the number one spot together. Number one, Venom and Carnage. I need to see both these guys. They are some of the most iconic villains in all of Spider-Man. You know, give a whole like trilogy devoted to them. Like introduce Venom in one film, Carnage in the next, and then in the third film they team up together and Spider-Man has to go through hell to beat them. I think that would be friggin' awesome. So yeah, Venom and Carnage number one. I want to see both these guys. All right, Caleb, I know what your number one is, but say it anyway.
I mean, come on. I mean, my number one is far and away above my other choices. It's Venom. I mean, my number one is Venom. He's my favorite Spider-Man. He always has. He always will be. And like, I don't know if I'm going over to critics in Spider-Man 3. That lame, horrible excuse for a Venom that we got.
Good.
The final like 10
Dang.
like was just thrown in there to make the fans happy, and all they did was piss the fans off.
Yeah.
Like huge Venom fans like, and it's like right as the main villain, I didn't see any problem as a musclehead and as a I need to see him. I'm sorry, that's how I need it. And I need him to be set up in it, you know, like he's an Venom yet. You learn about it. You know, he's working with Peter. He's competing against Peter. You know, the idea. And then the next set of Venom. Because now anyone is pushed out. You know, you have a connection. You know him. You understand more. And then you bring people up in a party. I just think it'd be so much better. That's what needs to happen. And it will happen. I almost guarantee that Kevin Feige, he won't fuck with him.
No. Oh, why didn't Sony listen to Sam Raimi? They should have listened to him. All right, Eric, you're up. Number one.
All right. Well, it may have been a little obvious from some of the comments I made earlier, but my number one would be Kraven the Hunter.
All right.
Like you said, Paul, I think he would make a great opening villain, but introduce us to some of the insane power that Spider-Man has to go through while not going intensely supernatural at the beginning. But what would be interesting that I think is that you could easily do for the intro like a team up between the Chameleon and Kraven, because they are brothers and they have done it in the past. But obviously, Kraven being the forefront antagonist of the movie, being the giant force opposition. I love Kraven the Hunter, and I would be so excited to see him in a movie.
Mm. Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with there being like, I mean, I know I've given a lot of complaints to Marvel and Sony for making up like 3 villains per Spider-Man film. That's just too much. But having 2 villains in a movie, I'm okay with. I think they can handle it, and I know Marvel.
If they did have 2 villains in the movie, like if it was like that, how I was suggesting, they would kind of need to be, you know, introduced and the story pushed together at the same time, not like, oh, it's Electro and then all of a sudden it's like Goblin out of nowhere.
That was stupid.
I would think if you want to do 2 villains, I think you need to have 1 main villain and then you kind of like set up the next villain. Not have 2 main villains. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like have like 1 and then have 1 in the background, kind of getting set up. Like if you have Kraven, have Eddie Brock set up. You know what I'm saying, though?
I hear you. That's a good point. All right, Colton, you're up. Number one.
Okay, the final villain of my made-up storyline will be, shockingly enough, the Lizard. The storyline goes, he's aware of Oscorp's involvement with Carnage and he tries to go public with the knowledge. However, Oscorp's aware of this and tries to shut him up, forcing Connors to use his untested boosted formula on himself, and things, of course, go wrong from there. So up until now, Connors has been a supporting player, and I think that having him be the final big bad of the series can be pretty emotional, since, as Chris stated in some comics, Dr. Connors has been a bit of a father figure to Peter. So to have Peter having to go up against him, and with the still infected with the Venom suit, would be a good way to not only have Peter almost cross the line, but also be the final push to him to get rid of the suit for good, I think, which can also lead to maybe 1 or 2 ominous sequel books involving Eddie Brock if they want to go further with any more movies. I know that actually is the plot of one of the storylines in the Spider-Man 3 video game for the PlayStation 3, but I still think it's a pretty good story that they can go with. You know what I mean?
I agree, and they maybe take it a step further, like have a few villains you mentioned build up to a proper Sinister Six that they teased at the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2, but let's get a real Sinister Six done well. All right, Chris, you're up last. Give me the #1 villain you want to see in Spider-Man.
I mean, I wasn't really sure about bringing these two, but they're probably pretty much tied together. I want to see Venom, and I want to see him done right.
Yeah.
Because the mishandling of Venom was one of the atrocities and one of the most unforgiving things about Spider-Man 3. It's just like he's a really scary and a very frightening character, you know. And of course, he has this rivalry with Peter Parker. It'll be great to see how that's handled on screen. I want to see Kingpin in the Spider-Man movie. This guy who's supposed to be the king of all the underworld, you know, physically imposing and menacing character. I mean, he would be more than a match for Spider-Man. Of course, despite this movie, the Daredevil movie, having many faults, I felt that Michael Clark Duncan's portrayal was one of the virtues of that movie. You know, he really made him really intimidating. I just like to see those villains in Spider-Man. You know.
All right. Great list, everybody. All right, I know this has been a very long show. I appreciate everyone sticking with us till the end. We are almost done. One last thing to go over. As you know, Flash and Arrow are coming back in a couple weeks, and that means the return of our Flash and Arrow recap special show. And of course, there have been trailers released for Season 2 of Flash and Season 4 of Arrow. We got to go over those real quick. So,
Now,
all the trailers, they're... Yes, Eric?
I just wanted to say that I haven't seen them yet, so I can't participate in the discussion a lot. And also, my roommate's going to go to bed soon, so I just want to say it was great being with you guys tonight.
Likewise, Eric. We look forward to seeing you another time.
All right. Catch you later.
I don't watch Flash or Arrow either, but I'll stay online if you guys do.
You gotta get on that.
Please.
I've been told.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's get on it.
Yeah.
All right. So Flash and Arrow, Season 4 of Flash, Season 4 of Arrow, Season 2 of Flash. Let's get on it. I mean, all the trailers were friggin' amazing. I love them all. I can't wait for these shows to come back. Damien Dark and Arrow is gonna be amazing. You know, Zoom and Jake Garrick, Wally West, The Flash. I mean, I can't wait for these shows. I can't really say enough about them. I mean, we'll go into more detail as the season comes on, but I can't wait for these shows to start up again. So, Caleb, Season 4 of Arrow, Season 2 of Flash, go.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Cool. All right, listen. I am super excited for both these shows. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of both these shows. The R64 trailer looked amazing. Dingo kind of looked very great. You know, that was kind of weird. But whatever. I mean, it still looks good. Let's see his costume. You know, it looks like they're gonna call him Green Arrow. I love how his costume looks. I think his costume looks badass. In regards to the Flash, the greatest thing that I heard is Andrew Pressberg did an interview, and he said that Iris and Barry's relationship is gonna have no bearing on the season. Like, they're not gonna explore it at all.
Good.
Like, it's not gonna be the season. Thank fucking God. Let's get down to business. Earth 2, Jake Garrick, Wally West, Zoom. I just came. It's okay though. We're good. I mean, I'm ready for this. I cannot wait. I mean, I'm probably more excited for Flash, but I'm still super excited for her, obviously.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
And I can't. I'm not sure if I've gotten over the Flash season 1 cliffhanger yet, but we only got 3 more weeks, so.
Yeah, we don't have much longer. All right, Chris, you're up. Go.
Well, Flash and Arrow. Two of my favorite comic book shows come back this season. I mean, I was really excited to see to see. I mean, I was pumped for the Arrow trailer. I thought it seemed like it was going to be an interesting season. You know, especially with Oliver Bracey, trying to come back and becoming Green Arrow, the Green Arrow, finally. And it'll be interesting to see Damien Dark, and how he's going to pan out for the rest of the season, taking on the Arrow Gang. And also, I'm looking forward to seeing that, maybe. But the one I'm really excited for is the Flash. Oh my goodness! Oh my, this just looks like it was like it completely expands on the first season. It really does. Really, because with the introduction of many multiple worlds, Earth 1, Earth 2. I can't wait to see Jay Garrick. In this incarnation of the Flash. Of course, I can't wait to see Zoom. That he is. Oh man, it's going to be interesting how they face him. But yeah, it seems a little bit more broader in scope and more. Yeah, it looks to be much more bigger than the previous season. I'm not sure, but it looks to be. I can't wait to until these shows come back.
All right. Yeah, we all can't wait. Okay, guys, so that is at last going to wrap up episode 37 of Nerd G91. Want to thank Avi, Eric for joining us. They couldn't be here to say goodbye, but thank them for joining. Chris, thank you very much for being here. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, I enjoyed this. Great doing this. Great doing this with you and Caleb.
All right. Colton, thank you very much for being here.
Happy to be here. It's pretty fun.
All right, and Caleb, we appreciate you making the effort to come in here. I know you have to work early tomorrow, so we appreciate you sticking with us till the end. It's a lot of fun having you here.
All right, guys. I'll see you later. It was a lot of fun.
See ya.
Really.
Bye. All right, guys, so like I said, that's going to wrap up episode 37. Don't forget to tune in next week for episode 38, where Chris will be tackling the solo duties of hosting, and he will be discussing the Lord of the Rings trilogy. It's all him. It's all Chris. It's his moment to shine. Everyone lends your support to him. And the rest, a lot of the main crew will be back for the final episode of Trilogy Month. But next week it's Lord of the Rings. Tune in to help Chris out. And he will see you all next week. So everyone, have a great day.
Okay.